I don't even know where to begin. Okay, this is the bathroom in the Imagine Travel Trailer, which is why on one of my previous videos I said that I didn't want to really do the replacement of the base of the toilet when we were camping because there was so little room and it was very late at night. And there really is very little room in here. But anyway, this is the sink. And what you can see so far is that, and by the way, that's a residential Moen faucet. What you can see so far is that I have disconnected the hot and cold lines from the faucet. This is a great tool, and I will do a tool review on this shortly, but very good to have in order to loosen the connections and replace the connections. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But I do have one of the braided lines on the hot water connected. And what I have here is obviously a clamp that has to come off so that I can actually cut the tubing. There's another line that's going to the black water flush. So we'll go ahead and I will remove that tab, and then we will make a mark, we'll measure, make a mark, cut, insert the water shutoff valve into the PEX, and we'll put a PEX fitting on it, and then we can talk about that. All right, let's get that clamp off of there. I'll try not to get in your way, but I can't promise anything. Okay, I'm going to slide that down, but I have to remember when I cut that, you know, I can't cut it so that the water valve gets pinched where that used to be. So I'm going to cut it up higher than where that was, the PEX. I'm going to cut it higher than where that was so that I can operate the valve without having any problems with that band. The other one will have a little more length on it, so it'll come down, I believe, below where that band sits, and that'll be great. So the next step is just to measure where I think that needs to be, make a line, and then get my PEX cutter and cut that line. Try and make it. That flashlight's a continuing issue. I'm try and make this as square as I possibly can. No turning back now. See, and these are the crappy little fittings. Oh, it looks pretty chewed up in there. All right, well, next I get a crimp ring, put it on there, insert that, and clamp it. All right, guys, to be totally transparent with you, what I found when I cut that is it wasn't Pex. And I've looked below, and it would take kind of a major replumbing job to run Pex up here. Not that I'm opposed to that, but it's nothing I really want to bite off right now. Now I have some really nice hose clamps that are actually made for this kind of an application because the inside won't wrap around and puncture the hose. So I'm going to use those and tighten the valve down, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side and then pressure test it. But my guess is, and I've seen these used before in these applications, they've been really, really solid. So we'll do that, and then we'll pressure test it. All right, guys, before I go any further, I did want to show you why this tool is so important. Not only for putting the water line on, but getting your old water line off. You can see there's a slot here. Your water line fits in there. And you can tighten and untighten like that. Otherwise, you know, good luck. You're going to have to get up there with a wrench somehow. And I can tell you, I've done that. It's really, really a pain. So use this with that tool, or use whatever connector you need. These are also good for removing the faucet. So kind of dual purpose. I plan on doing other plumbing around here at some point, so it's not like it won't go, it won't get used. So anyway, I'm gonna put the cold line on, do the same procedure, and then we'll go from there. Okay, and that's it finished. Now I could have used a longer braided hose and gotten them both down here below that clamp, but to me it doesn't matter. I kind of wanted them offset from each other anyway. So I think that's good. I'll pressure test it and see if there's any leaks, and believe me, I'll let you know if there are. I also want to check below because I did a lot of fiddle fudging around. I want to make sure I didn't loosen anything up down there. All right, everybody, here's the finished product. This is a long story. You'll find it amusing and entertaining. You can see I have the water valves actually turned on right now. There's no leaking, thank God, because there was before when I used those hose clamps. That was a bad idea. And I think at this point everything looks really dry. I'm gonna go shut the water off. But I will fill you in just a few seconds about what a nasty turn this took and what the solution was for me anyway. Hey everybody, hold my beer. Ask me about my travel trailer. Anyway, God, what a day. It was disappointing and frustrating. And you know, I must have a curse, because when I think something's gonna go real easy, it ends up being hard. And when I look at something and I go, wow, this is gonna be really difficult, like replacing the slide motor when the room is part way out. I think that's gonna be hard, and ends up being so easy. I'm like, oh man, I must have missed something. Well, I didn't miss anything today. I wanna talk to you about what you're gonna see, and I'm gonna try to edit it to make sense. So this is not Pex. That was an assumption I made that bit me in the ass. See the ends in there? Okay, so I don't even know where to begin. The easiest part of the job was cutting the old hose. Everything went downhill after that. Oh God. So I did measure, and you'll see, I'm gonna, like I said, I'll edit the film so you can see what went on. I was happy with the lengths, that wasn't an issue. Then when I cut the tubing, which is made in China somewhere, it's good to 180 degrees Fahrenheit and maximum pressure of, 150, but it's definitely not Pex, and I wish it were, for a number of reasons. But anyway, so I made the cut, I got the valve, I put it into the line, and I noticed right away it was really loose in there. So I knew that there was something wrong with the diameter of the hose. And then when I tried to get my 5-inch Pex clamp on there, it wouldn't go on. I mean, and I really, really worked it to the point where I was actually afraid I might have screwed up some fittings down below near the water heater because, you know, I was doing a lot of rattling around. But that wasn't the case. So, as you'll see in the video, I talk about going to these hose clamps that are kind of made for the softer hose. People have had a lot of good luck with them. In my case, it was a total disaster. I had them on real tight, and I even used a 1/4-inch drive ratchet to drive those on, so I really thought, man, this is going to be great. Nope, not at all. And I'm alone here right now. So it's not like I could yell out, turn on the water and turn it off. The hose is about, 100 feet from the trailer. And I turned it on and I came in and right away I thought, oh, I must have left the faucet on. Nope, I didn't leave the faucet on. That water was spraying everywhere around the fitting. So I had to run out, cut the water, relieve the pressure, then go in. And then I was just mystified as to what was going on. As it turns out, it really was those clamps. I kind of backed into it by disconnecting things and testing, and those clamps just weren't cutting the mark. So fortunately, there's a really, really nice and reputable RV repair guy down the street. And I called him up and asked him, I know there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube where you can put flared fittings on and things like that. And he said, bring your tube down. He goes, I think I've got some PEX clamps that'll fit that. And he did. And I mean, they were a nice tight fit around the hose. They weren't like impossible to get on. And I put them on, I tightened it down, turned the valve so the water was off, and then I started again. Yep, no leaks. So then I started, reassembling everything, and I still had a little dripping where the nippled end screws into the water cutoff. So I ended up taking those apart and retaping them and driving them on. Then hooked up the braided line, turned on the water, and everything seems good. It's been 45 minutes since I felt it was dry, and I just went in there and it was dry, so I disconnected the hose. So I don't have 100% faith yet. I will after a couple trips. The good thing is I can take these apart pretty easy. And, and here's what I meant about the PEX. So if I were to replumb it with PEX, it gets a little more complicated because I would have to drop down below the shelf in the sink down to the water heater area, and there's a T there. So there's 3 additional pieces of line that would need to be replaced, and unfortunately one of those lines goes under the travel trailer, and on the cold side too, not just the hot side, but the cold side too is pretty much the same. And to be quite frank, I'm just not ready to tackle that at this point. Now, if I have a leak and it looks like this is just going to be an ongoing issue, then of course I will probably have to replumb it, drop the bottom and do that. And I don't have a problem doing it. It's just not something I want to jump into if I don't have to. So we'll see how this works. I think it's going to be okay. I feel pretty confident that it'll be okay. And we take a trip in it and see if it's leaking at all. If it's not, I think the metal pan can go. And I feel a lot better with the cutoff valve in there anyway. So I don't know why they didn't do that everywhere. They should have. They should have plumbed it like a house and put shut-off valves everywhere. But, it is what it is. So anyway, cheers, and until next time, happy camping.